Day family, welcome back to my channel, All Things About. You already know who it is. It's your boy Jabari Leonard, and if this is your first time seeing me, I just want to say welcome to my channel, okay? Welcome. You guys are always welcome. New people are welcome. I actually want new people on this channel, so keep it coming, all right? So, as you can tell by the title of this video, we are going to discuss all things about WandaVision. So yes, if you guys are fans of the Marvel Universe, the Marvel MCU, whatever the case may be, you are well aware of that Marvel just dropped their first gem since Spider-Man Far From Home, which is back in 2019, Endgame, all that stuff. We all know 2020 just wasn't the year for Marvel or any movies at all. They had to postpone everything. And for the first time in so long, we get blessed with new content. And that content was WandaVision. So in this video, we are just simply going to be discussing a review of everything that's happened since beginning to end. And also I'm going to be sharing my own personal theories on what I believe is going to happen for Wanda moving forward in the MCU. So without further ado, let's just get straight into it, all right? Episode 1 starts off in this 1950s TV show. Now this is important because this is the first time we see Wanda since Endgame. And the TV show apparently is using references from other 1950s sitcoms. Now life is normal for the pair as they seem to go about their day as their usual regular routine. But something about this day is very different because there's this special day but both Wanda and Vision have no idea what it is. Agnes, the nosy neighbor, introduces herself to the couple, and she makes a brief reference that I'm not sure many people caught this, but she makes a brief reference to her husband, Ralph. We will soon find out who this Ralph guy is. Vision is an employee at a computer company, but what's also odd about this is that he doesn't know exactly what his position is in the company. He doesn't know what he's supposed to do or what goal he's supposed to achieve. It's basically a situation where us as the audience is confused and Vision is confused as well. And this will progress later on throughout the entire show. Later that day, Mr. and Mrs. Hart attend a dinner at Wanda's house. However, the couple were completely unaware of what the special day was, as I mentioned before, because apparently we find out that Wanda thought it was a special anniversary in their marriage, whereas Vision thought it was a special day where a meeting with Mr. and Mrs. Hart for a promotion in his job. It was weird. I was weirded out. Like, what is going on here? It just doesn't make any sense. Once the food is served, Mr. Hart starts choking on his food. Mrs. Hart jokingly, but with a hint of desperation, yells, "Stop it." Now, I personally don't think that Mrs. Hart was telling her husband to stop choking, as it's not like he did it on purpose to choke. Who wants to ever choke and possibly die? It makes no sense. I think it was a situation where Mrs. Hart was calling out to Wanda, telling her to stop this madness, stop this evilness, and help save him. We don't know this at the time, obviously, because this is the first episode. We have no idea. But now looking back and analyzing it, this is what I personally believe that was possibly going on in this scene. In the end of the episode, we see a TV screen broadcasting the show on a little monitor, but we are not aware of who's actually looking at it or what's going on. This basically gives a sign that there's something going on behind the scenes. The second episode starts off in the 1960s era. A helicopter drone lands in a bush in front of Wanda's home. What's significant about this helicopter is the fact that it is the only object in this reality that has color, specifically red and yellow. We also get introduced to a very important character, Monica Rambeau, or in this reality, Geraldine. When Wanda approached her in the pool and asked her about who she was, she clearly just said Geraldine, even though she kind of hesitated, having no idea who she was. This is a big sign that we also have to take into account in the future. A voice calls out to Wanda on a radio, and basically it's asking about, do you know what's going on? Who's doing this to you? This is a shock to both Wanda and to the audience because it shows that there's something going on outside of this strange reality, but we as individuals do not know what it is just yet. I think this is a smart move that Marvel made because it's kind of connecting or showing the audience that we're confused as everybody else. Wanda's confused, and the people around are also confused. It's a weird timeline, it's a weird story, but it helps you connect furthermore of being in this reality. Imagine just waking up and you're in the 1960s when you was just in the 2010s. Kind of interesting, right? All is still normal with Wanda and Vision throughout this entire time as they enjoy each other's company. The couple seem to enjoy their time until a bee-man emerges from the sewers. And this guy apparently doesn't seem like he's from this reality because Wanda looks at him and says no. This is a very big indicator that goes to show that Wanda knows what's going on in this reality, and it's quite possible that she's the one that's controlling it as they reverse into the scene and go back to where they were prior before seeing the bee-man. In the end, Wanda gets pregnant, and the entire timeline changes from the 1960s into the 1970s, and for the first time, we are seeing a full color, and not just the color from the helicopter. In episode 3, we are now in the 1970s era. Wanda's pregnancy and her belly grows bigger and bigger as each hour that passes by, not even by month, we're talking hours that passes by. Her belly is just getting bigger. One of the interesting things that stuck out to me throughout this episode was the moment when Wanda transformed those hanging butterfly ornaments into real butterflies, which she stated afterwards that she had no idea she was able to even do that. This is a foreshadowing moment of how Wanda does not really fully understand her powers, which will appear later on in the show as it progresses. Vision speaks to Agnes and Herb out of suspicions of their actions, as it apparently seems that they are gossiping behind their back. Agnes mentions a very important detail about Geraldine, saying that she has no home. But at the moment when Herb was trying to tell Vision more about who Geraldine is or what's going on, Agnes stops him and tells him to not reveal any more information to Vision. Well, not exactly those words, but she was basically telling him to stop so that you don't reveal it. It was kind of a shady way. Oh, and also that amazing meme that's going around in both Twitter, social media, all over, of Agnes winking. Yeah, I gotta use that more often, to be honest. Geraldine helps deliver Wanda's twins and remembers who she is in that moment. And she also remembers who Wanda is. This is a big moment because Wanda realizes that Geraldine is not from Westview and expels her from this reality, further showing how Wanda is running things in this realm. In the end of the episode, S.H.I.E.L.D. agents come to rescue Geraldine, and for the first time ever, we see what's outside of this realm, of what's outside of Westview. And at that moment, the episode ends. Episode 4 starts off a very interesting way because for the first time, we are seeing a different point of view. We're not seeing Wanda's, but in fact, Monica Rambeau, as she wakes up in the hospital after being blipped away 5 years prior. She has no idea what's going on in this reality that she just woke up in. She thinks it was just 20 minutes, but it was just 5 years, girl. Where you been at? In this episode, we find out how Monica entered Westview and entered this reality in the first place. We also get to find out how the helicopter drone was sent by both her and Jimmy Woo, who was an FBI agent. Darcy, a familiar face that we've known ever since Thor, she is apparently in this entire show, and she finds out about the broadcast that Wanda is projecting, and she eventually calls this reality the Hex. We also see the events that happened when we were in the Hex, such as the radio call. It turns out it was by Jimmy Woo, the FBI agent, who did it the whole time. However, this is rewritten on the broadcast, and we don't actually get to see that he actually communicated to her, because apparently Wanda must have shifted the entire reality of the broadcast. In the end of the episode, we see how Wanda actually kicked Monica out of the hex, and boy does it seem painful. She flew through houses. She flew through doors, windows, walls, and flew through the entire energy shield. That is very painful. Mind you, at this time, Monica is just a regular human, okay? That's gotta be painful. She should have at least had a broken back. But Monica ain't no weak person. She's strong, and it shows. Episode 5 kicks into high gear because this is the first episode that we are starting to see how WandaVision is really connecting to the rest of the MCU. What's going on outside of the world and overall what Marvel is known to be. It's not just this lollygagging, having a good time sitcoms. It's actually about business, action, and adventure. This episode is set in the 1980s. Now, right off the gate, Agnes enters the room as she always does, and she asks if she wants to hold Billy and Tommy. This kind of puts Vision off because he's not so sure about Agnes nor what she's possibly going to do. And Agnes makes this very interesting and jaw-dropping moment when she says, "Do you want me to take it from the top?" As in, do you want me to reverse time? Do you want me to take it from where you want it to do? This is proving that not only does Agnes know, but that Wanda is the one that is controlling this reality. She's the pilot. Agnes knows that Wanda is doing this. Now, this is very revealing, but we're going to find more about who Agnes is and how she knows about Wanda in the future. The twins, Billy and Tommy, they also have the ability to age up very, very fast, and by the end of the episode, they're basically 10 years old, which is, whew, crazy. Wanda starts to use her powers freely in front of Agnes, and to Vision, this kind of upsets him because it was supposed to be their little secret. Nobody's supposed to know but them. Hayward sends a drone out to kill Wanda, but Wanda makes her presence known in the most unthinkable and the most jaw-dropping way. She exits the hex with the drone in her hand and throws it right at them. Talk about a badass. Wanda lets the SHIELD agents know that she is controlling the hex, but that she wants to be left alone. If they don't try and interfere with her reality, she won't try to interfere with theirs. It's a simple deal, right? Well, that doesn't turn out to be the case. As we know, SHIELD isn't one to shy away from confrontations or being nosy. In the episode, Sparky, the dog that both Billy and Tommy had, unfortunately died. We are going to find out how he died in the first place. Now, the biggest reveal at the end of the episode was Pietro, who was Wanda's twin brother. But this Pietro is not the Pietro that we've seen in the previous films, such as Age of Ultron, or...
Wait, that's the only film he was in. Ooh. Sorry, Pietro.
But this Pietro is not the Pietro that we all know. This Pietro is the Pietro from the Fox X-Men universe. This is a big moment for a lot of people because a lot of people thought it was going to be a situation where there was going to be a multiverse and it was going to merge with the X-Men. We'll find out why this is not the case in the end. It's Halloween time in episode 6, and not only that, we are now in the 90s era. In the beginning of the episode, Vision lies to Wanda, telling her that he's going to be on duty. But we later find out that Vision is suspicious of Wanda's activities and decides to go exploring the outer sections of Westview. As he's out there, he stumbles upon Agnes. This is the first time that Vision finds out about Wanda's mind control and that she is the one that's taking control of the minds of all the Westview residents. At the same time, Wanda also becomes suspicious of her twin brother, Pietro, and finding out that Pietro isn't Pietro, and she decides to blast him off to the side because, she sensed some bad vibes with that. Vision tries to escape the hex in a desperate attempt to try and see what's outside. As he's out there, he does see the SHIELD agents, but he's also struggling to be free because pieces of his body is being pulled back into the hex. Billy senses his father's pain and warns Wanda of what's going on. Wanda does the unthinkable again, and instead of just going over there and trying to pull him back, she decides to expand the hex even further, miles, who knows how long far apart. And this is the first time we get to see how once entering the hex vicinity, that reality truly does change before our eyes. In episode 7, Wanda is slowly now losing her mind, and she is showing signs of being emotionally unstable. Luckily for Wanda, Agnes volunteers to watch after the boys, or so she thinks. Reality begins to lose its touch in her living room as we start to see that most of what she's created is now falling apart. Wanda tries to rewrite this flaw, but to no avail. This is further showing how Wanda does not know how to use her magic effectively or knows the proper steps to create the magic that she wants. Monica heads to Wanda's house to try and convince her to take the hex down because she knows that this is going to bring not only danger to herself, but also danger to Vision. Once again, Wanda engages against Monica, but this time Monica doesn't go down so easily. This shocks both Wanda and Monica because now we see that Monica has her powers, and she didn't know that she could do it until she got slammed down. An interesting point in this encounter is the fact that Monica believes the good that's still in Wanda, and that she knows that she's hurting inside and that Wanda needs help. Even though Wanda rejects this and saying that she is the villain and she's not basically on the same page as Monica. She doesn't want her sympathy nor her empathy. Agnes interferes between Wanda and Monica, telling Wanda to come back to her home. This is the moment where we have the most shocking reveal of WandaVision in general, as Agnes isn't Agnes at all, but is in fact Agatha Harkness. She lured Wanda into her lair in the basement, and boy oh boy, we come to find out that it was her that was also a part of this reality, and she was also the ones pulling the strings behind all these events. Episode 8 starts off in a very interesting way, and just like Monica, we also get a different point of view. In this point of view, we get of Agatha Harkness and her origins. In the beginning, she was being burnt at the stake by her mother and other witches for breaking the rules of using chaos magic or reading about the Book of the Damned. Her mother senses the dark and evilness that's in her soul as she tries to end Agatha, but unfortunately, or fortunately for Agatha, she sucks the life of not only the other witches, but also her mother and flies away. Agatha teaches Wanda the basic rules of magic, and she takes Wanda on a journey to her past because Agatha has a theory based on who Wanda is or what she is, but she doesn't have enough evidence, so she needs evidence to support her theory. We find out in the past not only Wanda's childhood, but how Wanda got merged with the Mind Stone, and how the stone gave her the vision of her future that we all know in this moment. Turns out Wanda did not steal Vision's body from S.H.I.E.L.D.'s facility, as Hayward explained in the previous episodes, and what many of us thought was the case. Instead, Wanda created Vision from her powers and in the process formed the Hex. And by forming the Hex, it also put a lot of the other residents that was in Westview under Wanda's spell or under her mind control, hence why we all see the events leading up to where we are now. After getting all the information that Agatha needed, she finally figured out what Wanda was. And in the final moment of episode 8, we get to reveal on what we've all been waiting for, and that was the true nature of who Wanda is, and that she is in fact the Scarlet Witch. Episode 9, the final episode in WandaVision. So the epic battle starts off between Agatha, Wanda, Vision, and now White Vision. And White Vision is the real Vision from the real world. However, Hayward and S.H.I.E.L.D., they've managed to reprogram him and make him a weapon of destruction. Agatha continues to manipulate Wanda and pressure her into giving her the Scarlet Witch power because Agatha can absorb energy, so she wants Wanda's power. She wants her Scarlet Witch power so that she can use it for herself. Despite all Agatha's efforts to try and turn Wanda into the dark side, Wanda refuses, and she shows off her true nature of remaining good. She shows her good side by even temporarily opening up the Hex to allow the residents to escape. As we all know that this did not end up happening because if she did continue opening up the Hex, she was not only going to lose Vision, but she was also going to lose Billy and Tommy, for they were a part of this reality, and without that reality, there's no more Billy and Tommy, nor there is any more Vision. In the final showdown, Wanda fights against Agatha, and while doing so, she creates runes around the hex. If you don't know what the runes is, it's basically only the witch that casts the rune or the spell, she's the only one that's allowed to use the magic. If you want to go back and watch that episode, go ahead, because it's very important. In that moment, Wanda also gives all her powers to Agatha, as Agatha, with her powerful absorption abilities, she takes it all in. As Agatha is trying to use her powers against Wanda, it unfortunately backfires on her as she's not able to cast any spell because of the runes. And in that moment, Wanda does the ultimate badass moment of the MCU's up-to-date history and unlocks her Scarlet Witch power. She unlocks her true potential. And not only that, she goes full-on goddess beast mode on Agatha. In the end, Agatha is defeated, and Agatha explains that Wanda has no idea what she's done. She has no idea what she's released. Apparently, Agatha does, because she was trying to get it so bad, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Wanda eventually comes to terms in reality and realizes that she cannot keep the people in the hex anymore. She cannot keep them prisoner to her own suffering and to her own mind control. So she destroys the hex. And in doing so, we have a final moment in a sad scene where we lose Billy, Tommy, and of course, Vision. Monica shows that she has empathy and sympathy for Wanda for what she's done. She commends her for releasing people from Westview, but she also understands that at the same time, she lost a lot. She lost her sons, and she lost her husband. And that is a pretty big deal for Wanda. Because even Monica stated that she would have done the same if she had the power to bring her mother back. So this is an important moment that I will talk about right now. And that's the end of WandaVision. Now, let's get into some theories that I have on Wanda's future. So there's this big theory going around that Wanda is going to be the next big bad of the MCU. But I'm one of the people that truly believe that this is not going to be the case, and here's why. If we look at comics in general, it's not very often where a character starts off in their position, maybe a hero or a villain, turn to the other side, and then go back to the side that they originally started. For this case in Wanda, she would be starting off as a villain, going to a hero, and then back to a villain. Not many times in superhero comics or just in general does that happen. It's usually when a character switches another side, they stay within that side maybe until they die or until the story ends. So it doesn't make sense to me why Wanda would start off as a villain, be a hero, save lives the best way she can, and then go back to her villainous ways. Wanda is set to appear in the next film, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. And Doctor Strange is supposed to be the hero, of course, and Wanda's supposed to be the villain. But what if it's a situation where Wanda isn't the villain, but Wanda is the student? We already know that Wanda has finally unlocked her Scarlet Witch power. And we already know that the Scarlet Witch power is a very powerful being, it uses cosmic elements, cosmic power, all of that, almighty, okay? And it's even stated that, Agatha even stated that she's stronger than the Sorcerer Supreme. Another thing that doesn't make sense to me is the fact that Agatha was so persistent in trying to get the Scarlet Witch power. She even stated that Wanda, with the Scarlet Witch power, is supposed to be the destroyer of Earth and cause a whole bunch of destruction and chaos and a whole bunch of bad things. But what's really crazy about it is the fact that Agatha was trying so hard and desperately to get this power. Why do you want a power that's going to be used for destruction and destroy everything? You seem to be very worried, Agatha, about the careness of the whole world. But I don't think this is because that Wanda actually is going to be the destroyer of Earth, as what Agatha said, because we already know that Agatha can't be trusted. She's lied so many times, she's deceived her so many times, she manipulated the situation so many times. Agatha can't be trusted at all. The only thing I trust Agatha with is the rule of magic, with the runes. That's the only truthful thing that I believe of Agatha. Everything else goes out the window. So I can't truly believe that Scarlet Witch is going to be what it is. In fact, I think if you have the Scarlet Witch power, it's based on what the person does with their intentions. So if they intend to use it for good, then they'll use it for good. If they use it for bad, so be it. But honestly, I do not think that Scarlet Witch or Wanda will be that type of person. Now we see at the end of WandaVision, Wanda is using her chaos magic and reading the Book of the Damned. And the Book of the Damned has what's known as the Scarlet Witch section, where it has all information about that. But it also has everything involving chaos magic, dark magic, all of that. Now, it is entirely possible that Wanda can master all her magic from that one book. But what if it's a situation where Wanda needs more magical skills? What if she needs more lessons? What if she needs a teacher? We already know Doctor Strange has mastered and read all the books within the Sanctum, and in this whole film, he mastered all of those spells in literally a short amount of time. He's a very intelligent person, and he can learn very, very fast, but he can also be a great teacher. What if not only that Doctor Strange is her teacher, but what if Doctor Strange is her counselor? We also seen throughout the entire series that Wanda has a lack of mental and emotional stability. Whenever she gets extremely mad, extremely emotional, she bursts out and uses her Scarlet Witch power recklessly, and this is what causes a lot of the victims in Westview and a lot of problems in general. What if Doctor Strange is like her psychologist? What if Doctor Strange teaches Wanda how to master her emotions, how to master her mental stability? Because we also seen with Doctor Strange in his film, he had to go through a whole journey mastering his ego, bringing that down. It's not always about him. It's not always about what he wants. It's about what others want, making sure other people are right, using your powers for the good. What if Doctor Strange is using that same method and doing that same teachings for Wanda? Because Wanda needs help.
If you haven't noticed, Wanda needs help. She needs a lot of help, alright?
What if Strange actually tends to help her? So what's going to happen in Doctor Strange 2? What's going to happen for Wanda and what's going to happen for Strange? Well, for one, I don't think that Wanda's going to be the next villain of it. It may possibly be someone like Mephisto or someone from the Hell Dimension. Because we see at the end of WandaVision that Wanda is looking through multiple universes because she sensed that Billy and Tommy are still alive. And then we get the voices, "Mom, help us! Mom, help us!" It obviously shows that Billy and Tommy are still alive. And of course, you know, we already know they're important characters in the MCU as it is. So them being completely gone is just not going to happen. I do believe that Wanda and Doctor Strange are going to team up together and try to rescue Billy and Tommy from the Hell Dimension. But we may get introduced to other characters such as Mephisto. We may even also, if you look at the Hell Dimension, dark places, we think of hell, we may also get characters like Blade. We do know that Marvel did make an announcement in Comic-Con 2019 saying that Blade will be a part of MCU. Blade is a vampire. Vampires are dark creatures. Hell. Maybe Blade's in hell. Maybe we might start seeing these type of mythical beings. And Wanda and Strange may be the key to that. Also, you gotta look at it. Doctor Strange, they did say it's going to be a horror film. It's gonna be different from all the other MCU films and storylines that we've known before. WandaVision was like the first step up to having a different formula, but also keeping that Marvel formula within its structure. So what if it's a possibility that this horror film, something evil, something scary, vampires, demons, I don't know. I do believe that this is what's possibly going to happen. But overall, I don't think that Wanda's going to be the next villain. I think she's going to be a student. I think she's going to be learning and going through a journey of self-healing, self-awareness. She's going to go through a journey of self-awareness, and I believe that Strange will be the one to guide her through it. So what do you guys think about this theory? Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think I'm weird? Have I missed out some information that is important that I probably just did not convey? Let me know in the comment section below. Anyways, I just want to say thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I know it's long. It was longer than I expected it to be. I try to sum it up as fast as I can, but there's only so much I can do with so much information and so much good stuff that's going to happen. But make sure you guys stay in tune for Marvel's new miniseries, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, coming out this Friday, March 19th.
Oh, wait. Actually, it's next week, because today, Yeah, next week, not this week, next week, March 19th. Tune in for Falcon and the Winter Soldier, all right?
Without further ado, like, subscribe. Hope you guys have a good day out there, and peace. Cut the damn camera!